This is a 2026 Ram 2500 Laramie Hemi. And don't worry, I'm going to explain why I say you should skip the Cummins. I borrowed this truck from Ken Garff Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram here in West Valley, Utah. This truck is available for sale. They actually have a red one just like it. Be sure to ask for Josh if you are in the market. Let's go ahead and check out the window stickers so you guys can see some of the options and features on this build. Base price for this truck is $64,210. Bright white is the paint, and then this is a short listing of the standard features. Starting off the options is the night edition for $2,995, and then this one does have the Laramie level 2 plus for $48.95. The only other option is the 410 axle, which gives this truck max tow. Destination comes in at $2,095 with a total price of $74,340. And remember, this truck does have a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. I have to admit, I still love blackout. I know some people complain about it, but most trucks here have this package. And if it doesn't have this package, if you don't know, Laramie now comes standard with painted front and rear bumpers. That's insane. There was a time where it was so hard to find this truck back in 2018, for example. Like, these were so hard to find. Now they're everywhere. Now, I like this package also because of the Sport Performance hood. I believe you can get it on the Sport package too. Now, it does have the heat extractors and a fixed hood scoop. I would like for Ram to incorporate that for the next upcoming engines in the future. But yeah, premium lights now come standard on Laramie. In the past, Laramie did not have the projector style headlights. It had the reflective style. For 2025 plus trucks, it has the same headlights as the Longhorn and Limited, which is crazy. Adaptive cruise control does come standard. I would like for 360 to come standard, but you know, Ram is, you know, they live on an island somewhere, so they don't watch my videos, unfortunately. Front parking sensors, and then here is that solid front axle. You can see that plastic liner there, and then here are the tires, which are the Firestone Transforce AT2s, LT 285/60/20. 33.5 inches tall, 11.2 inches wide. And in case you care to see the capacity for these tires, 3,640 pounds at 80 psi cold. These wheels were a carryover from basically 2019, which is kind of funny. The Limited and Longhorn did get new wheels for this refresh truck. But yeah, no chrome on this truck. Your mirror caps are cheap plastic though, I will say. I don't like that. And then you have these lights here, turn signals. Also, you have the puddle lights, light here for backing up. Top and bottom mirrors are power and heated. Painted door handles, smart key system. And you guys saw, you can get the power deployable running boards again. There was like a few years, I think, couple years maybe, where they took that away from Laramie because of, you know why. I don't have to explain it to you. But yeah, short bed. So this is 6'4", and this is gonna have a 31-gallon fuel tank. And I believe you don't have to use 89, you can just use 87 regular fuel. Multi-link rear suspension. Also, this truck did have the step parking sensors down below in that plastic trim piece. You have a 4 and 7-pin LED lights. What do you guys think about the back? Full LED tail lights. And there's that spare. And this truck had the 410 with is it an anti-spin? I don't know if the truck has an anti-spin. It might just have an open diff out back. Assisted tailgate, bed lights, 400 watts of power, and bed view camera above. Be sure to check out my Juggernaut tie down solution for the bed. I have a promo code down below if you would like to buy that for your Ram truck. And we always got to give that side view. You see that American flag? I do this all the time. I want you guys to go back through my videos. I try to set it up perfectly so you guys can see that. God bless America. Okay, where do we start? I like the Cummins. You guys know I'm a huge diesel fanboy, but I will never sway you the wrong way. And here's why. Diesel engines are not what they used to be. back in the early 2000s, I would say if things did not change from that point, I would never consider a gas engine, especially in an HD truck. However, times have changed and standards have gotten worse. Now, there's still talks about more emissions control on these diesel equipped trucks. But as far as the gas engines go, there's not a lot of negativity here because obviously you have the V8 configuration. This is port injected, which is nice. So those intake valves get that spray. And we'll talk about that in a second, but that's like the only negative thing on this engine, I would say, for most people. Now, I would like for Ram to get away from MDS. Multi-displacement system, was that on the window sticker? I don't think I even looked, but I'm sure it is. Actually, it says 6.4 liter V8 Hemi HD engine. It does not say MDS. So you know what? We're going to drive the truck today. So we'll find out here in a second if it does have MDS. I'm sure it does, though. I'm sure it does. But multi-displacement system is cylinder deactivation. Hate those systems because it could be linked to cam and lifter failures. But that system can be disabled, and I'll show you how to do it. Now, they did lower the horsepower, so now it has 405 horsepower, and that's probably in part to the fact that it now uses 87, but it still has the 429 pound-feet of torque. This truck having the 410, I'm willing to bet you it's a tow horse for sure. This 392 Hemi puts that power down strong. And what's behind it is super reliable. So this has the 8HP 75 transmission by ZF, very reliable. So if you're looking for the best bang for the buck, save yourself, what is it, the $13,000 for the Cummins, because you guys know you have EGR on that truck and this truck. So this truck does have EGR on it. And I forget, whenever I look down, I see it, it's right there. I'm sure it's easy to get, well, I'm not allowed to tell you to delete that, but I'm sure there's some good opportunities on the market, that's all I'm gonna say. But you don't have a DOC, you don't have DPF, you don't have SCR, and you don't have to use DEF. And the biggest issue today with diesel is, gotta wait for these airplanes to go by, the standards of diesel fuel. You guys have heard of B20, B5. I unfortunately got a little bit of information about that fuel, how bad it is. They have acids in that fuel. And obviously you guys know diesels are going to suffer from fuel dilution simply because of how the combustion works on those engines. So unfortunately, if you are looking to buy a diesel, if you're someone who idles a lot, or if you're someone who lives in really cold climates and it takes a little bit longer for the engine to actually create heat, fuel dilution is going to happen. And what happens with that fuel is, because of the acid that biodiesel has, and depending on how often you drive your truck, that's another issue, that could actually damage the internals of your engine. So you have to get a really good engine oil. You might have to run an oil bypass system just to avoid those potential issues with that. And depending on where you live at, you may not have another option like diesel number 2. You may not have an option like R99 or even, high performance renewable, because those fuels don't have the same acidic issues that B20 and B5 have. So let's go ahead and check out the interior really quickly, and then we're going to take the truck for a quick drive. These airplanes are coming in super fast, so I apologize for that extra noise. But yes, this is the Laramie interior. As I've said in the past, they've done nothing to this interior simply because everyone's just kind of caught up to this. Power pedals down below, and I love the attention to detail on the door. Harman Kardon is 17 speaker, subwoofer included. Seat back pockets, and a little bit of storage just on this side because there's a subwoofer on that side. But if that's not enough, you still have this on both sides too, with these removable buckets. And this does flip out to give you a solid floor surface. Light does shine down below. Air vents, 4 USBs, outboard heated seats, cup holders, armrest with more cup holders, and then defrost with power sliding glass. Let's go ahead and check out the driver's side. 10-way seat, for the passenger side. And illuminated storage. Also, oh nice, look what we have. More and more trucks are starting to have this paper delivered inside. I like this. So this is your truck camper loading. So if you use a bed camper, this is going to be helpful. So hopefully you can read that. Be sure to pause. They have this illustration here. And this truck can carry 2,093 pounds for a bed camper, okay? I will show you the payload here in a second. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And as I said, let's go ahead and take this truck for a quick drive because I really want to get a feel for this Hemi again. It's been a while since I've driven one of these trucks because I've driven it in the Power Wagon, but a Power Wagon is a different animal than this Laramie here. This is an auto dimming mirror, and then your home link is right up there. If you do live in a colder climate, having a gas engine is probably better for that just because of all the extra stuff you have to do. You have to plug in a diesel. You don't have to plug in this gas engine. This does use a 0W40 oil, so it's a lightweight. Now, obviously, you do want to try to take it easy when you drive these still, but for the most part, there's just a lot more ease of living with something like this over a diesel engine. Now, I was wondering if, because you don't have as much weight on the front end of this Hemi, I was wondering if this front was going to ride a little stiffer, but I'm not really feeling that right now. Let's go ahead and check out the brakes. You guys see the tire pressure? They have it at 65 out front, 73 in the rear. I'll show you what the door recommends here. This is a 3/4 ton, so just keep that in mind. All right, you guys want to see this acceleration? Here we go. Wide open throttle. Oh, I have it in kilometers, my bad. Not bad. Not bad at all. That 8-speed puts down the power really nicely. Let's see what gear we're in. We're in 7th gear. Let's see if it drops in or it goes up to 8th. Come on. Kind of hanging out in 7th gear there. We're just over 2,000 RPM in 7th gear. It will not shift up, guys. But yeah, this truck ride is super nice. I've always felt like the steering wheel is a little loose for a solid front axle. But this could have the adaptive steering too. Sometimes that does affect it a little bit. Here's a quick peek at visibility. Now, the other benefit of having the gas engine, you're typically going to have a little bit more payload than what you'll have on a diesel equipped one. They did fix that issue for some of the 2025 and 2026 trucks because they do have a higher gross fuel rating, but I don't think they raised it for the gas model. So we'll see here in a second because this is my first time doing, I think, a gas model truck for these 25 plus. So let's go ahead and check out the numbers and then that will pretty much end the video. I almost forgot. This truck does still have MDS, unfortunately. So the light came on. So yes, it is running on 4 cylinders right now. If you want to disable that system, all you have to do is lock in 8th gear and boom, it ain't coming on. You just use a gear limiter for that. Gross axle weight rating out front is going to be 5,500 pounds. The rear is 6,390 pounds. Gross vehicle rating is 10,000 pounds, so they do not change that number. And then the wheels are going to be 20 by 8 wide. All-in payload capacity is going to be 2,910 pounds. The front tire, they recommend you run at 65 PSI. The rear is 70 PSI. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you are in the market, be sure to check out Ken Garff here. And maybe if I have a chance, maybe I'll pull up a diesel equipped truck to show you guys a good comparison of the payload. Because I want to say it's probably about a couple hundred pounds difference. And I just noticed this Ram here is a Mega Cab 2500. Maybe I can show you guys the payload difference between these two trucks too, because that might be a good video. Not this one, because this is a diesel, so I'll have to find a diesel one to show you guys the payload capacity. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts. Is the Hemi worth it in 2026?